While many of us enjoy staying connected on social media, excessive use can fuel feelings of anxiety, depression, isolation, and FOMO. Hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to be part of the conversation. During his nearly 3-hour conversation on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Tesla CEO Musk and comedian Joe Rogan discussed topics ranging from Musk's businesses, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and then smoked some marijuana together. But Musk also made it clear how he feels about apps like Instagram and how they can make life appear more exciting than it really is.
Deleting social media from your applications, from your phones, does that give you a 10% boost to happiness? What do you think the percentage is?
I think probably something like that, yeah. It's about right.
Good 10%.
I mean, the only thing I've kept is Twitter because I kind of like need some means of getting a message out, you know?
Right.
So far, so good.
Well, what's interesting with you actually occasionally engage with people on Twitter.
Yeah, it's...
What percentage of that is a good idea?
Good question.
Probably 10%, right? It's hard.
It's mostly, I think it's on balance more good than bad, but there's definitely some bad. So,
do you ever...
Hopefully the good outweighs the bad.
Do you ever think about how odd it is, the weird feeling that you get when someone says something shitty to you on Twitter and you read it? The weird feeling? It's a weird little negative jolt. It's like a subjective negative jolt of energy that you don't really need to absorb, but you do anyway.
I mean, there's a lot of negativity on Twitter.
It is, but it's a weird, it's in its form. Like the way, if you ingest it, if you're like, you try to be like a little scientist as you're ingesting it, you're like, what? How weird is this? And I'm even getting upset at some strange person saying something mean to me. It's not even accurate.
I mean, there are a vast number of negative comments. So for the vast majority of it, I just ignore them. The vast majority.
Yeah.
But every now and again, get drawn in. It's not good.
It's not good.
Make mistakes.
Yes, you can make mistakes.
You can make some mistakes.
We're all human. We can make mistakes. Yeah.
I'm not sure why people think that anyone would think that deleting a tweet makes it go away. It's like, hello, been on the internet for a while.
Yeah. Well, it's even like the thing is they don't want you to be able to delete it. Because the problem is, if you don't delete it and you don't believe it anymore, it's really hard to say, hey, that thing above, I don't really believe that anymore. I changed the way I view things.
Yes.
Because people go, well, all right, have that over there. I'm going to just take that. I'm not going to pay attention to that shit you wrote underneath it.
It's on your permanent record.
It's forever, bro.
Like
it's a
high school.
Tattoo.
We'll put this on your permanent record.
Yeah. It's like a tattoo. You keep it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's this thing where there's a lack of compassion. It's a lack of compassion issue. People just like intentionally shitty to each other all the time online and trying to catch people.
Yeah.
They're more trying to catch people doing something that's arrestable, like a cop trying to like get, arrests on his record. It's like they're trying to catch you with something more than they're logically looking at it, thinking it's a bad thing that you've done. Or that it's an idea they don't agree with so much they need to insult you. They're trying to catch you.
Yeah. I mean, it's way easier to be mean on social media than it is to be mean in person.
Yes.
Way easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird. It's not a normal way of human interacting. It's cheating. True. We're not supposed to be able to interact so easily with people we're not looking at.
Yes.
You would never do that. You'd never be so mean to someone who's looking in their eyes. And if you did, you'd feel like shit.
Most people.
Yeah, unless you're a sociopath, you'd feel terrible.
Yes.
These days, most of us access social media via our smartphones or tablets. While this makes it very convenient to keep in touch, it also means that social media is always accessible. This round-the-clock hyperconnectivity can trigger impulse control problems, the constant alerts and notifications affecting your concentration and focus, disturbing your sleep, and making you a slave to your phone. Elon stated that reducing his social media use has dramatically improved his life, and he feels much happier without it. Musk only likes to use Twitter, which serves as an avenue to keep tabs on the world and to interact with people directly.
Whether or not our ultimate goal is to give birth to some new thing. And that's why we're so obsessed with technology. Because it's not like this technology is really, I mean, it's certainly enhancing our lives in a certain way, but ultimately, is it making people happier right now? Most technology, I would say no. In fact, you and I were talking about social media before this, about just not having Instagram on your phone and not dealing, and you feel better.
Yes, I think one of the issues with social media that's been pointed out by many people is that I think maybe particularly Instagram, people look like they have a much better life than they really do.
Right.
So
by design.
Yeah, people are posting pictures of when they're really happy. They're modifying those pictures to be better looking. Even if they're not modifying the pictures, they're at least selecting the pictures for the best lighting, the best angle. So people basically seem they're way better looking than they basically really are.
Right.
And they're way happier seeming than they really are. So if you look at everyone on Instagram, you might think, man, all these happy, beautiful people, and I'm not that good looking and I'm not happy. So I must suck, and that's going to make people sad. So when in fact, those people you think are super happy, actually not that happy. Some of them are really depressed. They're very sad. Some of the happiest seeming people, actually some of the saddest people in reality. And nobody looks good all the time. Doesn't matter who you are. No.
It's not even something you should want. Why do you want to look great all the time?
Yeah, exactly. So I think things like that can make people quite sad.
Well,
just by comparison, because you just sort of people generally think of themselves relative to others. We are constantly rebaselining our expectations. And you can see this, say, if you watch some show like Naked and Afraid, or if you just go and try living in the woods by yourself for a while, and you're like, well, that civilization is quite great. Has a lot of it. People want to come back to civilization pretty fast on Naked and Afraid.
Wasn't that a Thoreau quote? The comparison is a thief of joy.
Yeah. Well, happiness is reality minus expectations.
That's great too. But the comparison is a thief of joy really holds true to people. Is it? Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt. Fascinating. When you're thinking about Instagram, because what essentially Instagram is with a lot of people is you're giving them the opportunity to be their own PR agent, and they always go towards the glamorous, And when anybody does show, hashtag no filter, if they really do that, like, oh, you're so brave, look at you, no makeup. My concern is not so much what Instagram is that I didn't think that people had the need for this or the expectation for some sort of technology that allows them to constantly get love and adulation from strangers and comments and this ability to project this sort of distorted version of who you really are. But I worry about where it goes. Like, what's the next one? Like, where is it? Is it going to be augmented? Is some sort of a weird augmented or virtual sort of Instagram type situation where you're not going to want to live in this real world? You're going to want to interface with this sort of world that you've created through your social media page. Some next level thing.
We're living the simulation.
Musk went on to express that Instagram makes people seem better looking and happier than they really are, which can have negative effects on the psyche of followers who might buy into it. He feels that seeing attractive, happy people on social media will make people think, I'm not that good looking and I'm not that happy, so I must stalk. Many of us use social media as a security blanket. Whenever we're in a social situation and feel anxious, awkward, or lonely, we turn to our phones and log on to social media. Of course, interacting with social media only denies you the face-to-face interaction that can help to ease anxiety. We humans evolved to trust that our daily experiences build a real representation of our world. If most objects we encounter fall to the ground, we generalize and build a mental model of gravity. When a few objects float instead of the sky, we model those as exceptions, rare events that represent a tiny slice of the world. But social media has inserted itself between each of us and our daily experiences, moderating and manipulating the information we receive about our society. The platforms do this by profiling us over time and using those profiles to target us with selective content, custom curated news, ads, and posts that do not represent our society as a whole. And this happens without us fully realizing it. As a result, we all feel like we are experiencing the public sphere every day, when really each of us is trapped in a distorted representation of the world. This causes us to incorrectly generalize our world and build flawed mental models of our own society. Thus, social media degrades our collective intelligence and damages our ability to make good decisions about our future. So, what are your thoughts about social media impact overall? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Peace.